reading.
The ing
දයාබර දූ දරුවනි ඔබේ ඉංග්‍රීසි දැනුම වැඩි දියුණු කිරීම සඳහා අපි ඔබට අත දෙන්නෙමු. ඔබ සඳහාම සකසා ඇති මේ සරල ඉංග්‍රීසි පාඩම් මාලාව තුලින් ඔබේ දැනුම තවත් වැඩි කරගන්න. ලෝකයේ අනෙකුත් රටවල් සමග අත්වැල් බැඳගන්න අපි ඉංග්‍රීසියෙන් කතා කරමු.
Have you heard the expression or the term or phrase, everything has changed? Yes, because things do keep changing. People change, places change, countries change. So, when we talk about change, we will be talking about the past and the present. For instance, you could say, 6 months ago, she was a little girl in school. Now, she has finished her exams and is looking for a job. Everything has changed, but we refer to the past and the present in showing that things have changed. Can you think of examples that help people to understand what has changed? You can say, some years ago, there was a narrow little footpath here. Now, there is a broad 6-lane highway in this part of the country. We are referring to the past and then the present. And there are many things that you can think of. Do think of those in your own locality. Look around you and at the people and see how people have changed. And try to write down what it is that you remember from the past and now how things have changed. You will be talking about the past and the present. While talking about the past and the present, there is also the present perfect tense that you would want to learn. For instance, the word no could be part of your answer to a question. Let me try and explain that. The question could be, did you get on the bus? The answer could be, no, I am still waiting for the bus. The still waiting is your use of the present perfect tense. Still waiting. So that word still is interesting and also important if you want to indicate that some things are yet to take place, have not yet happened. Still waiting. No, I am still waiting for the bus. You could be asked the question, have you finished your studies at school? And your answer could be, no, I am still studying for my final examinations. That's the present perfect tense. So like that, think of other examples where you're using the word still and also using a word that ends in ing. In that way, you're indicating that there are some things that yet need to happen. Yes, there is also another very interesting little word, and that's but. Yes, but also helps us to link 2 periods of time, the past with the present. For instance, you could be asked the question, has your friend gone to Colombo? You could answer and say, yes, but he came back yesterday. So the word but indicates a link between things that have happened in the past and also expectations with regard to the future, because the person who asked you the question was under the impression your friend was in Colombo. So you said, yes, he went to Colombo, but he came back yesterday. Think of other ways that you can use the word but to indicate your special meaning or the emphasis about what has taken place. And also listen carefully to the remainder of this program. There's a lot that you can learn from it.
Today we're going to talk about how to use the present perfect tense. That is, to talk about changes and experiences. What are changes? Changes are how things are different from the way they were before. For example, he's left school. He's at university now. So we are saying he used to be at school, but now he has gone to university. Something has changed. You could say, last year I was living in Gaul, but now I've moved to Colombo. We also use this present perfect tense to talk about experiences. What are experiences? Usually, things you have done in your life so far can be called your experiences. I have been to Kathragama 3 times, but I haven't climbed the Vedhitikanda. My brother has read all the James Bond books, and he's seen all the movies too. Here we are talking about a person's experiences, things that have already happened in their lives, things they have experienced. So what about things that you haven't done yet? Maybe you want to climb Mount Everest. So you could say, I have not climbed Mount Everest yet. He's still in school. He hasn't passed his A-levels yet. I'm still living in Kandy. I haven't moved yet. That is how you talk about the things that you haven't done yet. Remember, we always use the past participle form to describe the things that we haven't done. Now let's look at the words ever and never. Remember this rule. Ever means at any time. Have you ever been to Sigiriya? Never is used when you want to say not ever. I have never been to Sigiriya. Those are examples of how to use the words ever and never to make a sentence.
Let's think of some words or expressions that can be useful. Have you heard the expression pretty boring? Pretty boring. Why is that term used? Pretty means one thing, boring means another. Pretty boring. Well, the idea that we want to convey is not to say definitely that something was completely boring or totally boring, but almost boring. So this is an idiomatic use of the English language. There are many such things. We say things in the English language to convey a special meaning. So, pretty boring would be in answer to a question like, do you find this cricket match interesting? That's the question. You who have been watching the cricket match are not at all happy with what is going on. There is nothing much happening. No one is scoring, no wickets falling, and very poor bowling. So, what do you say? I think this match is pretty boring. Not completely, but difficult to watch for a long period of time. Pretty boring. So that's an expression that you would want to learn about and maybe even use. Another word is temporary. Temporary. You hear it all the time, don't you? But what does it exactly mean? Well, refer your dictionary and I'm sure you'll find a good definition in the dictionary for temporary. It usually means something which is incomplete or is for a short duration of time, in its use, that is. You would use something for a short duration until something else comes along. So we think of a temporary shelter. Well, let's imagine that there were some people whose house broke down in the storm and they didn't have a roof. Until the roof was repaired, where would they be kept? In a temporary shelter or a temporary home. So that's the idea of temporary. It also is used with regard to jobs or employment. If a person is going to work in a particular company or a factory or an office for a short while, maybe a week or 2 or 4 weeks, you would refer to that as temporary employment. In other words, for the time being, for a short time, temporary. So that's also a good word to get to know and use it correctly. Well, that's it for now. Bye.